Hey, today I'm going to be reviewing a couple of products I got from Fenty Beauty. I have the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer. The Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. I got two shades. I got 160 and 170. I wasn't quite sure which one that I would wear, although now looking at them and hearing a couple of comments about them oxidizing, I'm afraid they're going to be too dark, but I'm going to see if I can make it work. Also, I have the Fenty Beauty Matchsticks Trio, and it comes with conceal, contour, and highlight sticks. The primer retails, I believe, for $32. The foundations are $34, and if you get the matchsticks in the trio, it's $54, but if you buy 3 of them individually, it's $75. So I believe that's $21 saving. So it's kind of better to buy them in the trio. I heard someone say that, I know that at Sephora you cannot customize the 3 that you get, but I heard on the Fenty Beauty website that you can actually pick the 3 that you want. So that's probably a good option to save a little bit of money. Going forward, I want to be 100% transparent in everything that I put on my face. I do have very naturally oily skin, so I'm going to go in with the Origins Original Skin Renewing Serum and with the Origins Skin Matte Moisturizer. I did receive both of these from Influencer. They were free. I'm just testing them out. But I will say that with my oily skin, since I started using these, it has been a game changer. But I just want to let you know 100% what I'm doing to my face to prep it before I use this foundation. That stuff smells so amazing. I love trying new products, but I also hate trying them because if I really like them, then that makes me want to go buy them. And Lord knows that I spend enough on products that I don't need to buy anymore. But this moisturizer really does help with my pores and my oiliness. Since I started using it, I have noticed that my face is not nearly as oily as what it usually is. So I highly recommend it if you were in the market for a moisturizer for oily skin. I'm just gonna throw that down on the floor because, I mean, why not? Also, I'm gonna let this sit for about 10 minutes and let it dry. So I'll be right back. So my moisturizer has had enough time to kind of soak into my skin and dry down. I don't like going in with my moisturizer still pretty wet, just because I feel like with my oily skin it becomes an issue. So I'm going to go in with the Fenty Beauty, the primer. Come on. Anyway, I love this packaging. One thing I will say that I don't understand is why they didn't match them. Like, everything else seems to be this really pretty, kind of like a nude color with a little bit of a pink undertone. But why didn't they make the foundation bottle match that? I don't understand. So I'm gonna go in just on a liquid foundation brush. I'll start with one pump and see where that gets me. I know that seems weird, but I mean, it really doesn't have much of a smell. I'm just going into the areas where I typically get pretty oily. It feels really nice on the skin. It's very light. If you've ever used a primer for very oily skin, sometimes it will have a little bit of what kind of feels like a very light powder texture to it. And this, whenever it dries, feels like it kind of has that powder texture to it, but it's, I mean, you can't feel powder. It just, is a very light feeling powder texture. So now this says to shake well. So I'm just going to shake it up. I am going to go in with the 160 because that's what was recommended to me on the Sephora website. I'm just hoping it's not too dark. I'm afraid it's going to be too dark. But if it is too dark, I do have some NYX. It's like a mixing medium. It's pure white. It is the best thing I have found for if a foundation is too dark for me, that I can just add in, which I'm not going to do today because I want this to be a true test. But going forward, it's something that I can mix in if it's not the right color. I am going to do one side of my face with a flat top brush. I'm going to do the other side of my face with the Beauty Blender, see which one applies better. I have heard from a lot of people that this dries very quickly. So I'm just going to try to work in small sections. The color is actually pretty good. It's not too terribly dark. I mean, you can see the level of coverage up close. I can still see a little bit of pinkness because, I mean, I do have very, very red cheeks. I do not have rosacea. I just have very red cheeks. It's also a part of my skin tone. But for the most part, I would say the coverage is very good. It feels light. I really don't feel a whole lot of foundation on my face. I would personally like to do 2 layers of this. I have heard mixed reviews about doing 2 layers of this foundation on your face, that it kind of makes it look extra dry as far as feel. It dries down very quickly. I do have trouble with a lot of foundations not drying quick enough, and so that has been an issue in the past, but this dries very quickly. Now I'm going to go in with a Beauty Blender. Sorry, I'm checking my mirror to see which one up close I actually really like better. So looking at my face, the brush and the Beauty Blender pretty much covered about the exact same. I don't see a huge difference. I am going to go in with one more layer over my cheeks just to see if it's buildable, because I don't like how pink they still are. Whenever Jeffree Star came out with his tie-dyed shirts and one of them said full coverage queen, I snagged that in a second. And I don't know if you can see it or not right there. I have a huge goose egg on my head where I was trying to set up my camera and my lighting the other day, and I dropped it straight up on my forehead. And I don't know if you know how heavy a ring light on a stand is, because I have the mirror attached to my ring light as well. It fell right on my forehead. It hurt so bad, and immediately I had full coverage foundation on, like full coverage foundation, and I could see the bruise already coming up through it, and I was like, oh Lord, this is gonna be funny to explain whenever I go to school. And if you don't know, I'm actually in cosmetology school. I really like doing hair. I think hair is fun, but in the future I think I will definitely still do hair, but I am looking more forward towards doing skincare and makeup. Those are 2 things I'm really passionate about. I am having to use a whole lot less foundation than what I normally do, with this, which I like. I'm usually, if it's a pump foundation, I'm usually having to do like probably 6 or 7 pumps just to get the type of coverage that I want. Just because I do have such dry skin. Not dry. Red. I have such red skin. And I do have freckles, but I don't care if they're covered or not. So you can see the coverage. My skin feels nice and smooth. I'm actually really happy with it. It does, I think, blend with my skin really well. I like the color. I think it's a good match. In the tube it looked way darker, so I was kind of worried. But way to go, Sephora color matching. And just for reference, I believe I'm a 1R05. So if any of y'all have that skin tone, then I believe as long as it doesn't oxidize like they say it does, the 160 will be a good match for you. Next, I'm so excited about this trio. I got the trio for the very fair skin. I got Linen, Amber, and Starstruck. I love how they're magnetic. They stick together. I am going to swatch these on my hand before I put them on my face. I'm actually going to let you see how much product. Yeah. So that is how much product you get. Which, I mean, is a decent amount. But this is the Starstruck. It's a very natural kind of pinky glow, which I like. Sometimes I want my highlight to be blinding, but then sometimes I'm like, no, I don't. This is Amber. This is the contour stick. I like it because just looking at it, it looks like a very cool toned, which I, as a fair skinned person, have a huge problem finding a cool toned contour color, but that actually looks perfect. And then the last one is Linen. Looking at the sticker on the bottom, I'm afraid it's going to be too yellow, but maybe not. Actually, no, it looks good. So I'm going to try these 3 and see how well they do. I'm going to start with the Linen and just highlight a couple of places on my face and go down my nose, up here. It seems to be a very sheer coverage. I don't know how much of my beauty blender did pick up some of it. So I'm gonna go in with this brush and see if it doesn't help a little bit. Looking closer, the beauty blender here actually pulled off some of my foundation. The brush, on the other hand, did not. So as far as cream contour goes, definitely use a brush. I'm just gonna go back in with a tiny bit of foundation and touch that back up because I will say that if you like a lot more coverage, then this Linen probably not gonna be for you. I swear by my Tarte Shape Tape. I love it. This is very sheer. It's almost exactly my skin tone color, so there's not much of a highlight. I actually even add some of the white into my Tarte Shape Tape just because I'm so fair that I need a little bit to kind of give me a highlight. And this just, it's exactly my skin tone. Which, nothing wrong with it if you just want a light, natural contour stick, but for me, I'm a full coverage girl. Like, I want full glam, so this is not for me. But it actually really does dry down, very powdery, very natural, so I am a huge fan of that. I don't feel like I need to set it, which I'm kind of excited about because I hate having to set my makeup. I feel like sometimes it makes my face look a little cakey. So now I'm gonna go in with Amber, the contour stick. I'm gonna go in with a brush just because of how the Beauty Blender did it earlier. It does blend out really pretty. So that I'm happy with. It looks natural. It's not a very harsh, sharp contour. It's a very natural, light looking contour once it's blended out. And I really do suggest using a brush. And just kind of pulling it up. Actually, I'm really loving that. Amber, if you're a fair skin girl, you want some contour, definitely get that one. Now I'm going to go in with Starstruck, which is the highlighter. I'm actually going to warm this up on my fingers just to see if that helps it kind of blend a little bit better. It's actually really pretty. And it blends really well with your fingers. I do think you can actually kind of build this up if you want it to be. I don't think it's ever going to be a crazy highlight, but I do think you can make it a very pretty highlight. I feel like it just makes me look like I have really dewy, pretty skin. Going forward, I am going to go ahead and finish up my makeup and come back and kind of give you my final thoughts of how it continues to set and finish. I'll let you know what I think. I'm back again, although you probably have no idea. I literally filmed this about 2 hours ago, my check-in, but I did not cut my speaker on. So go figure. Well, not my speaker, my microphone. I didn't got my microphone on, so you couldn't hear anything I had to say about my makeup, which is awesome. I have been wearing this foundation now for probably about 8 hours or so. Whenever I went back in to do my eye makeup, I could see that actually a little bit more foundation than what I thought had been removed after I used the highlighting contour stick. I believe the shade's Linen. It's not a highlight, it's like more of a concealer type foundation stick. Overall, would not recommend that. Maybe if you're not using a foundation under it, you could use it, but I mean, with this foundation, it just does not work for me. It may work for you, hopefully it does, but it does not work for me. Although the cream contour and Amber, love that shade. I love the highlight, and Starstruck, love the highlight, but the concealer stick, not for me. Overall, the foundation feels very light still on my face. I typically have very oily skin. I will say that on my chin, it's not horrible, but it is a little sticky, which every foundation I've ever used has done. I do feel like if I had used a powder to set it, it probably would not be as bad. It's only breaking up just a tiny bit right here, but the rest of my face looks really good. Probably shouldn't say so much, sorry. Overall, I really do like it. I will say that whenever I went to go put on my eyeshadow, it had creased really bad on my eyelids. So I do recommend underneath your eyes if you tend to crease. I would definitely use some powder underneath your eyes. Not a whole lot, just a little bit to kind of make it not crease and set it. And I just feel like if you're super oily, then it'll overall help. I am really impressed though with the foundation. It's very hard for me to find a foundation that is not yellow on me. Almost every foundation that I use tends to be very yellow, and this actually matches my skin tone. So I'm happy about that, and for that reason, I'm going to continue to use it. Although going forward, I'm going to set it. The foundation, the primer, highly recommend. The highlighting stick, I recommend. The contour stick, recommend. Just I am not a fan of the concealer stick. I believe whenever I went to use it, it actually took more product off than I put on. And yeah, I'm just not a fan. I will stick to my Shape Tape, which makes me happy. But overall, I am impressed with it. It feels good on the skin. Just in areas that you tend to get oily or you don't want creasing, I would use a very light powder. I know it's supposed to be a matte foundation, but I would definitely recommend some powder. I'm sorry for the crazy eye look. I was trying to experiment and then it went out of control. Yeah. That's what I get for playing on the weekends with my makeup. Thank goodness I'm not going out in public looking like this. But overall, I'm very happy with it. I enjoy it. I like it. It feels good on my skin. And it did, I mean, it really did last. It's only broken up just in that one tiny spot, but every foundation I use does that. So, I think a little bit of powder, which I would normally use but didn't today, would probably fix that. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope it helps you decide if this will be a product for you or not. And hopefully help you decide on how you want to spend your money, because I would hate for anybody to spend, you know, 40 bucks on a foundation. Well, not 40 bucks, but $30 and some change on a foundation that you don't like. For oily skin people, I do think it's good. I think the coverage is nice. I did not have to use as much foundation as what I normally do. And I think it looks really good. I mean, I can still see a couple of my freckles through, but it did cover the redness, but I typically have. And it just feels good on my skin. If you have normal to dry skin, it might feel a little dry, but for me and my oily face, it actually feels really good. So thank you so much for watching my review. I hope it's helpful, and yeah, if you have any feedback, let me know. I just do this because I like to try makeup and hopefully help people make their decision on makeup. I'm not an expert, nothing like that. I just enjoy makeup. So y'all have a good one. Bye.